So for task 3, we're going to read the beginner's guide on slide 10, on slide 10, which is called How to Mooch About, and it's an actual student example. I am going to read it to you in a minute as well, and then complete the task in the boxes around the side. So if we go down to slide 10, you can see the student example is in the middle, and the tasks I want you to complete are around the edge. Okay, so I'm going to read those tasks to you first, so you can be thinking about them as I read the example text to you. So task 1 is, what is the path of this task? So actually write the purpose, the audience, and the format, and then highlight and label 3 sections that successfully meet the purpose, the audience, and the text type of the task. Highlight and label 5 DAFORS techniques, and if you can, comment on what their effects are, okay? So you might want to highlight in a certain colour and then put that colour here, and write its effect. So for example, U is direct address. I might use the highlight tool, highlight it purple, and then here I might write directly refers to the reader and makes them feel that the direction is personal to them. Then I'm going to highlight all of that in purple too, so I can see that it's those 2 bits that link together. That's one way of doing that. Okay? As long as it's clear to me, I don't mind how you do it. Task 2, vocabulary. So highlight any examples of ambitious and appropriate vocabulary, and highlight any examples of modal verbs. So again, you could highlight that one colour, highlight that another colour. Modal verbs are verbs that change certainty. Should, could, would. They tend to be words that work well in a beginner's guide. Then there, I just want you to answer, first of all, is there anything you like about this writing? Is there anything that confuses you about this writing? Then here, what are the strengths of the response? Here, what could be improved? And here, what 3 things do you need to do when writing your own response to this type of question? You're just going to literally fill in the boxes with answers to those questions. I'm just going to read you the response. And this was a real student response, okay? So this was a beginner's guide to mooching about. So how to mooch about. You have to be alone to mooch about properly. Other people will just get in the way and be all energetic about things. So you should wait until they've gone, make a cup of tea, and then let the mooching commence. Mooching requires a clothing-pyjama combination that you'd regret if you answered the door to the world's media. The advantage of this combo is that you'll finally find the toenail clipper in your dressing gown pocket, which you put there last time you mooched, 8 months earlier. To mooch, you must be open to the notion that anything you choose to do can take all day. It's then perfectly acceptable to lavish attention on something like your toenails. You then decide on a grand project, such as having your toes cosmetically straightened, but go off the idea because you feel a bit peckish. A major mooch means it's unlikely that you will have your 5 portions of fruit in bed that day. It's much more likely that you'll have 5 slices of pizza or anything that can be eaten in front of the television after minimal time in the kitchen. An important part of mooching is not talking to anyone. You can answer texts and emails, but talking to a real person will break the protective slime of mooch around you and prematurely expose you to the real world. Once unmooched, it's impossible to re-mooch. Surfing the internet is electronic mooching. You go to the computer to check your email and find yourself 3 hours later reading about the origin of the Portuguese flag. Then you decide that you've always wanted to live in Portugal, but forget about the idea because you've turned on the TV. Daytime television rapidly reduces your critical faculties to the level of which you can watch daytime television. Some people work harder in retirement than they did when they were at work, but a large number choose instead to go into permanent supermooch. This can be such a relaxing and enjoyable existence that you scarcely notice death. But then, if there's a heaven, it's likely to be one big mooch. Now, the one thing I will say, just as a hint, is this student doesn't the weakest thing is how clearly they address their audience. There is a part that lets you work out who their audience was meant to be, but it's not clear, and I will try and feed that back to you in my comments next week, okay? So have a go at all of that, and then when you've done it, you can read through some of my ideas here, all right? Okay,